Hi everyone, welcome back to Plum Mashable. So I've done a little bit more work here in my office and I have reorganized my paper scraps. So if you want to hear all about my system and what I use some of my scraps for, then just keep watching. Alright, so this is my cupboard, which obviously you guys didn't get a great look at last time. But what I've done in here is I've actually used this as my space to keep all of my paper scraps. Now if you remember back to that video, which I'll link down below, you would have seen that I kept all my paper scraps in an accordion file. Now that was a great idea, but it didn't really work because nothing was accessible and the accordion file was so big I didn't ever want to touch it. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and grabbed 6 of my kikki.K magazine files and a couple of my reject shop plastic envelopes. Now these are what I keep my Planners Anonymous kits in. And this has actually really helped me organise what I keep in here. So I went through all of my scraps and I've organised them into these boxes. So I'll flip over to my desk and I'll show you exactly what's in each box. Alright, so I've gone ahead and grabbed all of these out of the cupboard. Now I'm not going to go through all of them because really that's boring, but I'm just showing you the categories in how I split this up. So the first one is white. Really simple, but I have a ton of white cardstock and white papers and anything that's white that basically gets kind of left behind whenever I'm doing a project. So they're all in here. Anything that's white, whether that's paper or cardstock, is all in here. There's also watercolor paper and that's just normal cardstock. I think it's just watercolor paper and plain and white anything. They'll go in there. So far that's actually been really handy because I've actually gone for that the last couple of times I've gone to make something as opposed to starting a new piece of paper. The second one is brown. Now brown's a little bit harder. Got all my craft cardstock, and yes, I have plenty of it, but then it's also got pattern paper in here, anything that's predominantly brown. And I'll show you in a second when I get to green just how I've categorized things, because there are different ways to do it and everyone will do it slightly differently. But to me, I'm just going to grab that bit of paper. This is my kind of example sheet. To me, I look at a piece of paper and I go, okay, what's the color that I see the most? If it's got all different colors, which this one obviously does, to me, I see green. I don't know why. I think it's just these two bits are more green than anything else, so it goes in green. You might look at that and see the black and the white and put that in with the blacks. Completely up to you. To me, I just see green with that, and I think that's my way of knowing, okay, I need a piece of paper that's got green on it. I'll go there. It makes sense. The next one I've got here is black. These aren't all black, but they are anything that is predominantly black. Now I don't know why, but metallics also go with black. Again, it's just my brain, it's just the way my brain works. So I've gone anything that's got a bit of metallic on here as well. So I've got this bit of paper here, that goes black. You might see that and go white, that makes complete sense. To me, I see metallic goes with black. The other question I have a lot is what about pages that are double-sided? I pick a side and go with that. To me, this is the easiest side to categorize because it's black and white, so therefore black. Yeah, I know, but it could go white. White just generally ends up being just plain paper, whereas this has got pattern paper, obviously. That side is a lot harder to categorize than this side, so I just go with the side that is easiest to categorize. Okay, so that was white, plain, hold on, we'll change the name of this. It's not white, it's plain white. So plain white, brown, and black / metallic. And we've got blue. I have more blue cardboard and cardstock than I'll ever know what to do with. Not all of this is completely all blue, but majority is blue, which is where I get the thing from. Then we have green. Probably doesn't need a box all of its own, but kind of I tend to lean towards cooler colors, so that's just, I seem to have more green than anything else. And then the last box is actually a combination. So this is where those envelopes come into it, because I have my pinks, because they didn't need a whole box on their own. My reds, my oranges, and my yellows, which need even less, so they all go in together. So basically any warm color goes in here. And purple, which I thought I had more purple than this, but apparently I do not. So they all live in one on their own. There is then 2 envelopes that live outside the boxes, which works because in my cupboard there's only enough room for 3 in each sort of little porthole. So these 2 live on their own. This one is acetate and vellum. Makes it really simple, but it's anything that's not It's not a paper, so it's something different. So acetate, vellum, and I've also got some sticker paper in here. So it's anything that's not technically a paper lives in this one. And then this one is kind of, they're not paper scraps, they're something else. So I've got in here some bigger pre-cut dies, I've got some quote cards, I've got some kikki.K paper, I've got some envelopes, got some circles, but it's anything that I didn't feel fit anywhere else. So it's it's not a junk pile, but it's the more special scraps, if that makes any sense whatsoever. And because it's clear, I can kind of see into this and go, okay, well, I really need a circle, so I'm just going to go in here, and plus I know they're there, so that helps. So they are my 6 boxes plus 2 little pockets that live on the side. The pockets come from the reject shop. I need to buy more. I'm now out. And I think they're like $3 for 3 of them. You don't need these to be perfect. They're just keeping the dust and crap out. This is also how I store my Planner's Anonymous one. So the whole system for me has worked before with those. So I figured it would work again with my scraps. So when it comes to what do I do with my scraps, obviously not a lot because I have so many. The thing that I've always found is that if they are less accessible, I am less likely to use them. Now that they're in this system, just today even I've spent a lot of time actually cutting up some scraps. So the first thing I did was I tried to make a card front. Now I'm not happy with this. It's not what I want it to be. It's a little bit too busy with all the different kinds of patterns. But all I did was just cut these into 1 centimeter strips, stuck them on a piece of paper. There are so many tutorials all over YouTube on how to use strips to make backgrounds for cards. I need to have a bit more of a play with it and actually sort of hone my skills in doing it because I'm not really very good at getting those patterns together. But there is actually a really cool, it's called the Color Catalog, and I will link it for you down below. And if you guys want to see a video on it, let me know because I have access to it and I can show you. But it's a really good way to put color combinations together, especially if you're not very good at it. So I'll link that for you down below. And like I said, if you want to see a video, let me know. But just a way to put colors together because I'm really not good at it at all. And I think I need to learn how to pair it back to just the color combos, and then that will help me do things like this. The other thing I spent most of today doing, and I'm trying to pull these in without dropping them all over the place. So a good friend of mine, Simone, lent me some of her dies, and before I sent them back, I thought it would be a good idea to sit here with my scraps all afternoon and send these through the die cutter and cut out all these awesome stitched balloon shapes. So if you've got scraps and you've got bigger bits, so these obviously are the bigger bits, and then these sort of ones are your littler bits. If you've got some big ones and you've got some time, just sit around and go through your dies, ones that you use a lot. Now to me, I'll use balloons. Balloons are a really good way to spice up any kind of card you've got, so I'll definitely use this shape. Or if you've borrowed dies from somebody and you want to give them back, if you want to kind of get yourself up a bit of a stack of them, this is a really good way to use up some of your scraps. Is just cut out a bunch of dies, get them all used in your pile, and you can just use them whenever you're ready. Saves you having to do it. You've got so much more on hand for when you do need to use them. And again, I'm going to send these ones back, so it made sense to cut a bunch out while I had them. But that's another way you can use your scraps. Now something I'm going to try and do in the next couple of weeks is go to my scrap boxes first. Go here before I go and get a piece of paper from any of my pattern papers, because God knows I have plenty. But I reckon I could make probably a bazillion cards from what I've already got here. So my challenge is going to be to go here first before I decide to go somewhere else. So if you guys want to see some cards where I perhaps go to the scrap boxes instead of going to my regular pattern paper, let me know down below. I'd be happy to do it. If there's a particular kind of card you'd like to see me make using the scraps, let me know that as well. I'd so love to give it a try. Maybe we can all try and use our scraps together and kind of get through this big pile of stuff that I know we all have, and try and get through a little bit quicker now that we've all got some time on our hands. So I'm just going to move these off the desk so they don't get in my way and don't push over. So that's it for today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy it. Please let me know if you'd like to see videos using my scrap collection, or if there's anything in particular you would like to see. You can leave it down below or find me on any of my socials. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it and it was helpful. Hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic weekend, whatever you happen to be doing, and I'll see you again in my next video. Sending lots of huggles. Bye!